Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Coming up here on today's show, I've seen some trending stories out there around the silver and black that I want to be able to cover. We're going to talk about Josh Jacobs. We're going to talk about Mac Jones potentially going to the silver and black. And should the Raiders add an edge rusher like a Dee Ford? That's what's going to be coming up. Now, today's show is presented by one of our OGs, one of our MVPs around here on the Raiders Report. His name's Trivan. You guys have probably seen him on multiple shows. And all we're trying to do here, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this on a later date, we're trying to raise awareness for suicide prevention. So if you know anybody out there that's dealing with anything, I think the first thing is this. Don't be afraid to reach out. We can help you guys out. So coming up here on the show, Josh Jacobs trade rumors. This one is from The Athletic. It's from Vic Tafur. I saw an article that they put out. I'm going to talk about his points. Dee Ford to Las Vegas. This one's from Bleacher Report. Trade for Mac Jones. I'll talk about this one here because this is going to be a little eye-popping for some people. So the first one, the Raiders trading away Josh Jacobs. I'm going to give this one only one just win, baby. Small shred of truth. I'm going to say that there's a 1% chance that the Raiders trade away Josh Jacobs. And that 1% chance is, I don't know what McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are thinking. To me, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to move on from him. But this is what Vic Tafur had to say because there was an article that The Athletic put out titled, NFL trade deadline candidates for all 32 teams. Vic Tafur listed Josh Jacobs. He didn't list Clelin Ferrell. He didn't list Jonathan Abram. He listed Josh Jacobs. And he said the trade only makes sense if the Raiders lose to the Saints. So please keep that in mind. He's not saying that they should trade him right now. He is simply saying if the Raiders lose to the Saints, then moving on from Josh Jacobs would make more sense for the silver and black. Here's exactly what Tafur said in the article. Jacobs has been on the Raiders' best players this season and is one of the league leaders in yards after contact. If they truly are one of the best 1-4 teams ever, now he wrote this right before they beat the Texans, and take care of business the next 2 weeks against the Texans and Saints, then forget you ever read this. But if they don't and they remain at the bottom of the AFC, then maybe GM Dave Ziegler looks ahead. Jacobs is one of the very few tradable assets on this team. Sorry, Clelin Ferrell and Jonathan Abram. And the new brass did pass on picking up the fifth-year option on his contract last offseason. Are they really going to pay him more next offseason? Getting a pick for Jacobs would actually be a smart move for a 2-5 team. Here's my take. The only way that I am trading Josh Jacobs right now is if you're offered a first-round pick. Getting a first-round pick for a running back doesn't happen often. In fact, I don't even think it would happen. The reason, though, that I'm looking for a first-round pick for Jacobs is because he's been that good this season. Realistically, if Christian McCaffrey's going to go for a second, a third, a fourth, and then you're also going to get a fifth-rounder next season, if I'm the Raiders, I say, I want that type of trade. Because Jacobs has played better than Christian McCaffrey this year. Yeah, McCaffrey has a better track record. Also had a coach that wanted to get him. He's also had a lot more injuries than Jacobs has. And Jacobs this season, again, has been better. So to me, if you're not getting a first-round pick, I don't even want to hear the Jacobs trade discussion. This season, he's got 111 carries, 633 yards, 6 touchdowns. Right now, Jacobs is on a freaking pace for 315 carries, 1,794 yards, 17 rushing touchdowns, and then when you also add his receiving, he's on pace for over 2,000 yards. If that's not worth at least a first-round pick, then what the hell is? So here's my question to all of you, and I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's show. What should the Raiders do with Josh Jacobs? Do you trade him? Type trade. Do you extend him? Type E. Or do you franchise tag him? You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break, so while you're going down there, hey, let me know. Trade, extend, or tag. To me personally, I say that you franchise tag him in 2023. I'm not going to extend him because I don't believe in paying running backs big type of contracts for a long period of time. A one-year deal, though, where you can franchise tag him in 2023 at about $12.7 million, that's worth it to me. Yes, if you would have given him his fifth-year option, which would have been about $8 million, you would have ended up saving money. Here's the thing, though. He looks motivated. He looks like a top 3 running back, and if his body is able to hold up to this workload, You drafted Zamir White. I don't care. You cannot let Josh Jacobs leave, because if you do, this offense is going to sputter, very much so. So to me, if you trade Jacobs, you're telling your fans and your players you're giving up. To me, Mark Davis wants to try to sell tickets. He wants to try to put butts in seats. If I'm a head coach, if I'm a general manager, if I'm an owner of a team, how can I convince fans that you should pay outlandish prices not only to go to games, but to fly to Las Vegas and to get a hotel ticket when you're giving up? If you're giving up, Raider Nation doesn't usually give up. To me, this is why you can't trade Josh Jacobs. Now, we do a lot of crazy shit here on this show, and I tell you that all the time. We try to keep you guys up to date with news, rumors, so if you haven't already hit that subscribe button yet, please make sure you do so. Jeremy Chugs and I, we go live on Thursday night to have a good time. We go live for every Raiders game day. Last week we went live for Monday Night Football. And because Super Chats that came in from Buddy Bear and a Super Chat that came in from Savannah Jean, I got to dress up as Buddy Bear on Thursday Night Football this week, so stay tuned to watch that. And for our Halloween special for Raiders against Saints, I got to dress up as Harley Quinn. So if you want to come and have a good time, if you want to wear your costumes as well, tweet out a picture, use hashtag RO4L. If you want to see me dressed up like Buddy Bear or Harley Quinn, tune into the Raiders Report this week. Let's go to the next story here on the Las Vegas Raiders Report. To the Silver and Black, do they need an edge rusher? Hell frickin' yeah. 4 just win, babies. Believe it, baby. There's not an argument in this world where you can sit up here and tell me that they don't need an edge rusher, and after the trade for Jonathan Hankins, there's no world you can tell me that they don't need a defensive tackle. Bleacher Report wrote an article titled 5 NFL free agents who could help fuel 2022 playoff runs. Dee Ford was linked to the Raiders. Now, for me, I don't want to sit up here and say, oh, Dee Ford to the Raiders, because maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't. To me, the bigger message is this. The Raiders need help getting after the quarterback, whether that be an extra edge rusher, whether that be somebody on the defensive line. You have 9 sacks this season. That's tied for dead last in the NFL. For whatever reason, this Raiders team has not been able to get after the quarterback for a long time. And you got 9 sacks this season, and you got a guy like Max Crosby who's got 6 of them. 6! Get Crosby some help, for the love of God. So if you need somebody like Dee Ford, if you need an extra defensive lineman on the interior, this team needs more edge rushing help, especially if Nate Hobbs is going to be out the next 3 weeks dealing with an injury. Help out your linebackers. Help out your safeties. Help out your cornerback room. I believe it starts up front. So Ziegler, McDaniels, freaking make a move for somebody on that defensive line. What do y'all think? How bad do the Raiders need help at edge rusher right now? 1, you don't think they need help at all. 100, they need all the help they can get. It's 100. They need all the help they can get. When you're dead last in anything in the NFL, that's bad. When you get a player like Max Crosby and you're still dead last in the NFL, that just tells you how bad it is. God forbid anything happen to Crosby. This would be one of the worst defensive lines in the NFL. Big Island, I'm seeing thousands. That just tells you how much help that this team needs. So for me, yes, you can go out and make a trade. There are plenty of trade players out there. Why not also in free agency? Because to me, there are still some players out there that could help. Are any of these names on screen right now like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl because we signed one of these dudes? No. But for Pernell McPhee, he has connections with Ryan. Benson Mayoa, he's played on the Raiders before, and I love what he brought to the table. Everson Griffin can still play at a pretty high level. Alex Okafor's played in the AFC West before. Jeremiah Achu played with the Chicago Bears. I am looking for situational pass rushers. The Raiders need more help. Now, today's show, y'all, is presented by our good friend, loyal Raiders Report watcher. His name's Trivan. He messaged me and said, Mitch, I'm going to send you a big super chat. I want you to create more awareness for suicide prevention. First off, I always say Raider Nation is family. You guys are the absolute proof to me that you don't need to be blood to be family. And if anybody's dealing with something or if anybody wants to bring light to a cause like this, I'm more than happy to do it. Today's live show is all about raising awareness for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So I ask you guys to please donate. You're going to be able to donate for the next week. I believe it's going to be on the show. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, so please bear with me. I would say if you can donate, please do so. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is dedicated to saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide, including those who have experienced a loss. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention creates a culture that's smart about mental health by engaging in the following core strategies: funding research, educating the public, advocating for public policy, supporting survivors of suicide loss and those impacted by suicide loss. Trivan messaged me and said, hey man, if you know somebody dealing with something, tell them, don't be afraid to reach out and talk to somebody. Life's tough, I get it. But always know that there is somebody there. You can call or text 988 or text talk to 741-741. There's plenty of outlets out there. I hope the Raiders Report at least gives us an ability to educate some more people, to be able to just say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. So I'm here to help. That's all I know. Let's go to the final story here on the Raiders Report. Trade for Mac Jones. You ready? I'm going to give this one just win, baby. And I'm going to say there's a small shred of truth to this. Very small chance. And hear me out when I say this. If the New England Patriots bench Mac Jones, I do think that there is an area here where the Raiders could potentially try to buy low on Jones. Remember, he was their first-round pick last season. He played one of the best seasons that I've seen by a rookie quarterback, made the playoffs. His offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels. His quarterback coach, Mick Lombardi. There was a lot of pieces. Dave Ziegler also made the move to go out and get him. This is all I'm saying. If the Raiders traded picks away to get Jarrett Stidham because they thought that this was somebody that could maneuver their offense, McDaniels in the offseason also said that quarterback position is one position that they're not afraid to go out and try to make because they believe potentially you can flip it for more in the future. If the Raiders aren't 100% sold on Derek Carr, and let me just say this, Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. All I'm throwing out there is this. If New England sticks with Bailey Zappi, it would not surprise me if McDaniels, if Dave Ziegler, try to buy low on Mac Jones, which might be a third-round pick. I don't know what it would be. I don't know what New England would be willing to give up for it. But if they were willing to make a trade for Jarrett Stidham, don't be surprised if some rumors start circulating out there that the Raiders could potentially make a move for Mac Jones. Now, if you guys want to be able to interact with me, hey, Twitter, Instagram, y'all can do that. I am at Mitchell Renz 365. I know y'all do a lot of amazing things for us here on this show, and please don't be afraid. Reach out to me. Stay up to date. Everything going on around this team.